Welcome to Education, Leadership, and Beyond, Surviving and Thriving. My name is Andrew Murata, host of the show, and it is show number 245. Thanks for joining us live here on Facebook. Proud member of the Education Podcast Network, VoiceEd Radio Canada, or wherever you are taking in podcasts. We appreciate you joining us. Leave me a positive comment. Leave us some feedback. And if you are watching live, jump in the show. That's one of the things I love about Education, Leadership, Beyond. It's live. It's kind of like having class. It's kind of like being at a session together, right? You could jump in and be part of it. So I would love to have you join us. And happy May, everybody. It's weather finally broke here in the Northeast. It's beautiful. So hopefully there'll be some sunlight when we get done here, and excited to get outside. We are going to meet my friend Jove Stickel from Missouri here in a moment. Jove and I met at the conference a couple years ago there, and man, has he done some amazing things since that time. Jove, I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for you, and excited to hear about that. So we're going to meet Principal Jove Stickel from Missouri here in a moment. Cameron Veterans Middle School. A couple quick announcements. Today's sponsor is me. I'm sponsoring the show, and just a shout out for summer speaking engagements as well as school openings. It's May 10th at the time of this recording, and we are booking school openings, professional development days for next year, and I'd love to come and connect with you, be part of your school opening, bringing the surviving and thriving message, bringing the message of storytelling, positivity, inspiration, all that good stuff. So I wanted to share that and put that out there. So I'm hoping to connect. You can email me, DM me on Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. All right. The opening concept here, a couple of things. Number one, it was leave your mark today, or make your mark day today in Port Jervis Middle School. I got my shirt on, and it's where you could sign each other's shirts, and the kids could put their names on it, a positive message. I put Go Port on the kids' shirts. Right. So I challenge you as a school leader, Mr. Stickel, I challenge you. How are we leaving our mark positively on other people? If you're not in education and you're listening or watching the podcast, how are you leaving your mark? That was the name of the theme day today. Tomorrow's pajama day, so I don't know how much inspiration it comes from that. But today was Make Your Mark Day, and it was pretty cool. So, and secondly, I'm going to ask Jove about this. I believe this phrase changed Jove's life. Commitment greater than your feelings. Your commitment greater than your feelings, right? What is it that you want to accomplish? And is your commitment to that greater than your feelings? Jove and I share a love of Dr. Gilbert, a good friend of ours, and he has had a deep impact on us. And Jove, let's start with that. I'm going to bring you in right now. We're going to cut right to the star of today's show. Here is Principal Jove Stickel from Missouri. Jove, welcome to the program.
Hello.
Good to see you, and thanks for coming on.
No problem. It's a pleasure to be here.
You might be busier than me, and trying to get you locked in for the program could be a challenge. And let's start right there, Jove. Let's start right there with Dr. Gilbert saying, commitment greater than your feelings. Tell me about that impact that phrase has had on you.
Yeah. So when your commitment is greater than your feelings, you get results, and it's really a basic thing, right? It's not complicated. That's one of the things I love about Dr. Gilbert's messages, right? There's stories behind them, and they're nothing special. It's just everyday things. They're simple. They're to the point, and they're easy to remember. And so, he says C greater than F equals R, and that just resonated with me. And I realized, you look back at your life and you look at all the things that you do, when you start to realize that if I'm committed to something and committed to the point where if I don't feel like it doesn't matter, I'm still going to do it, good things happen for you. And that's when the results happen. And it's just become a mantra for me. And I've added some other mantras along the way, but that one's become huge for me. That's really clicks with me, and the things that I've faced and the adversity I face, it just seems to hit home with me every time.
Home run. This is Principal Jove Stickel, Cameron Veterans Middle School. Jove, you've been a principal for quite some time, but this is your first year at Cameron Veterans. What was your first year like for you there?
It was really great. It was kind of a whirlwind. I didn't expect to leave the district I was in. I was really very content, very happy where I was. This school happened to be closer to my older grandkids, and it would just seem right place, right time. So many things fell into place. It was just meant to be, and it's been a great year. I've got a great support staff. We have just great people in our school. We have people that want to do well, want to succeed, that care about kids. So it's been a wonderful year, to transition. It really been great. I mean, a lot of great things have happened and a lot of positive energy.
Give me one positive, something that's really working, and one thing, hey man, I'm going to reshuffle that deck and try that again next year that maybe didn't go your way.
So one of the things that really is working well is our culture of our staff is high. I think we've really done well to rebuild some relationships there. It's still a work in progress, but really proud of how we've come together and the trust that we have in one another. The thing that we still got to work on is our student attendance. I think that's something that's across the board that everybody's dealing with, or a lot of people are dealing with. It's something we're struggling with, and we got a lot of plans for next year, and we're working on those things every single day to make sure we have something solid in place when we start up next year. So,
Joe, if you're right, we are all struggling with that. What's one thing that you think can help prove attendance? If you had a magic wand and a big checkbook, and you say, "Hey, we're going to do this," what would this be?
Well, one of those things, first and foremost, is the relationships you build with kids every day. They got to want to come to school. They got to want to be there. You've got to make it an experience for them, and we've got to work hard to do that every single day. And then I think you've got to make school fun. It's got to be an enjoyable thing to be there. They got to want to be in class. You got to tap into their passions. They have to enjoy the people they're around. So those are the biggest things right off the bat.
I agree with that, and bringing the F word back to school, not fight, not but fun. Yeah, for sure. Jove, I'm so thrilled for you. You look great. You sound great. You've had a major transformation in your life over the past few years.
Yeah,
you've lost a tremendous amount of weight. You've added some incredibly healthy habits here. Can you share us a little bit about your journey here on how that happened, and what was the turning point? What was the day one where you said, that's it, I got to do this?
Right. So I weighed over 600 pounds really at one point. I've lost over 300 at this point. I'm far beyond that actually that I've lost. So basically I yo-yoed my whole life. I got to a point where I was the biggest I'd ever been. I just was uncomfortable. I wasn't very happy. I didn't realize how bad off I was, because it's not like you get that big overnight, right? So you don't realize how much the rest of your life is really affected by it until something bad happens, or there's a seminal moment, right? So I'd had some things happen, like I had a little heart thing. It wasn't anything serious, but it was enough to kind of scare me. So I went in and quit. I chewed tobacco. I quit chewing tobacco and quit nicotine on the same day,
wow.
Which was tough on my secretary, I think, my wife for a while. But I quit those things on the same day, cold turkey, and decided I was going to start losing some weight, and I started losing weight slowly. And then I knew a guy, Matt Hoover, who was on The Biggest Loser. Actually, it was a winner. I think it was season 1, actually. And we just had connected over social media, and he had gotten weight loss surgery, and I'd always kind of seen it as cheating. And he said, "Hey, listen, this is how it is. If you buy a brand new boat, and you don't, and you're going to take care of that boat. It's your boat. You're going to make sure that it gets the oil changes it needs, that it gets maintenance, that you take care of it." And he said, "That's just like your body. You got one body. You got to start taking care of it." He said, "This is what I did for myself to jumpstart things again and get myself in the right spot." So I thought about it, and time went on, and what really was the moment that finally made the decision for me aside from that was we're in Gulf Shores. We love going to Gulf Shores. I'm at the beach, and never really have any problems. But I fell down in the waves, right? And the sand's soft there, and it's breaking, and I'm trying to get up. Well, it's soft. I can't get a firm hold, and I couldn't get up. Like I was just there forever. Eventually, I just gave up and just sat there for a while. And all I'm thinking about the whole time was, I bet there's 100 cameras on this beach right now on me, and this is probably going to go viral. That was my biggest fear. And I thought, okay, that's it. I'm done. Like after today, this is finished. I'm going to do something about it. I'm already had started to lose weight. I'd lost about 90 pounds at that point, but I realized I needed to do a little better. Right. And I needed something that really pushed me further and got out of my comfort zone. And I researched, the surgery for quite a while. And that was really the moment that decided it for me, because it was just, those people didn't know me, but I knew myself, and I was mortified by it. My family was around, so that was tough. And I laughed about it. I laughed it off. Eventually I got up, but at that point I realized that wasn't funny. Right. But you learn to do those things when you're hiding stuff from yourself, or you're trying to protect yourself. So that was the big turning point for me, the moment that really did it. So.
Wow. And then from there, right, you make it sound easy, Jove. I mean, we're going to talk about running a marathon here, but how did you stop? How did you stop the bad eating habits? What were some things, right? You talked about commitment greater than your feelings. Well, to not do that or drink that, how did you do that?
So I started going, I had the interest in bariatric surgery. I started going, and you've got to go through a psychological test. You got to go through some nutrition courses, which really set me on the right path. And those things set me up, and you start to go through that process. And a lot of people think the surgery is easy. I think that's the easy thing. Well, the surgery is the easy thing. It's what leads up to it and what's afterwards the hard part, right? Because your metabolism changes forever leading up. You've got a liquid diet that you go on. So you really have to be committed, because if you're not, you're going to have a miserable experience. And so I started eating right. I started following the directions of my doctors. I got into a routine of tracking my protein, of tracking my fluids, tracking my macros, and just did it religiously. I have a book that I've tracked it all in from day one.
Wow.
And I journal every day. So all my meals go in, my thoughts for the day, whether that be work related, because, our emotions are tied into, we eat. Some people it is anyway. For me, it was, I ate because I was happy, or I ate because I was sad, or because I was, frustrated, eating my feelings, as my old guidance counselor used to say. So those were things that I started to take note of, and I started to pay attention. I took up a hobby to keep my hands busy, to put me in places and doing things where I wasn't, eating right. And then I started exercising, and I started running, and I became devoted to a routine that eliminated a lot of excuses for me. And that was really the secret of it. And I get up 2:15 every day. And I get up, I stretch, I do some meditation, I work on a puzzle to warm up my mind as well. And then I'm on the road running by 3:00, 4 days a week. And then 3 days a week, I'm in the gym, and then I'm in the gym. So and I work out for an hour and a half to 2 hours in the morning, and then I come back, I spend some time with my dog, and just kind of get myself ready for the day before I hit work at 6:30. Our kids start showing up about 7:30. So I'm there for about an hour getting some stuff, meet with my AP, talk, and see what we got going on, and just establish solid routines for myself that makes sense, that I could adhere to. So.
Wow. Well, Jove, I was going to ask you about your mornings. I feel proud that I wake up at 4:50, right? How do you do that? I mean, it's 6:45 at night there for you. I mean, you're going to be going to bed here in the next 20 minutes?
Probably the next hour and a half, probably 2 hours. There's nights when obviously I've got supervision and things where that doesn't happen. So there's some short nights in there, obviously. But for the most part, I try to make it to bed by 8 or 9 o'clock. I've just found that my body functions really well on about 5 hours of sleep. Any more than that, I feel like I drag a little bit. I do sleep a little bit more on the weekends because I like to run when it's light outside.
Yeah.
But because I don't have that luxury during the week. So I adhere to a routine, and my routines may vary a little bit, but they are pretty solid. I lay out all my clothes the night before. So all the clothes I'm going to wear to school are hung up, ready to go in my bathroom. All my running clothes are right by my bed. So as soon as I put my feet on the ground, I kick my running clothes. I don't have a choice. Like, they're going on. And then that's the hardest part. Once I get through that, then I'm home free. So that's where it goes. My meals, I do my lunch is made the night before. My breakfast is, I'm pretty solid about that every day. It's after I work out. So I've just got to maintain a solid routine. So
it's the start that stops most people.
That's right. That's right. Dr. Gilbert would tell you that's right. It is the start that stops most people.
Have you visited with Gilbert's class?
Yeah. So he's really, it's kind of interesting. You know how he is when he has his seminars, right? And he asks a little bit about you. And then he called me, and I was like, wow, this is, I wasn't expecting him to call me. I thought that was really neat. So he invited me to speak to a couple classes. He's invited me to seminars. He called me. Matter of fact, it was last night, I think he called me and said, hey, you're on the exam. I'm here with my class. You need to give your answer to number 21. You're on the exam. So I was like, this is it. I've hit the big time now. You
made the exam.
So it's awesome. Like, I just think he's such a down-to-earth guy, and calls and checks in on you, and shares your story with other people. He's there to inspire and help others, and he tells you he does it for himself. Right. And it's great when you can, and I've taken that approach. I do a morning message every morning on my Instagram and tie it into my Facebook and my Twitter. And I do that for myself, and it's, hopefully it helps others, and so it's just been a great thing for me to do and to catch on. And I love his messages. Huge part of my day.
973-743-4690. If you're listening and you haven't called the Success Hotline, Dr. Rob, do it. Jove is an example. I'm an example of what 3 minutes a day can do to you. 973-743-4690. Give it a try. It's the real deal. Jove, this amazing transformation in your life. It's incredible. What did it do for you professionally, over the course of a couple of years, losing all that weight, and then you're showing up slim and dapper in school? What did that do for you?
It just gave me a whole new confidence. Like, there were things that I would avoid, I think, just because it was tough. I found that, I was doing walkthroughs every day, even when I was bigger, but I was doing more walkthroughs once I got thinner, right? That just became, I was out of my office. I wasn't going to be in my office unless I absolutely had to be. So I walked around. I was hitting every room every day. I found myself, finding excuses to get out of my office. I think that the other thing it did, I had a better attitude, right? The weight of the weight was so tremendous that I think, it took a toll on my staff. I don't think it was, noticeable. I don't think it was something that was like something that they were necessarily overly concerned about. I don't think they felt like they were carrying my burden for me. I'm sure they were worried, right? Because I was so big, but you could just tell, like, there was a lift, our building got lighter. Initially it got lighter, then it got a little tougher because my expectations became tougher. And right. I had greater expectations for myself. So then that changed a little bit and changed some relationships because they were used to the old me. So that was something I had to learn and to navigate, which was tough. I had one teacher say, it's like I lost a friend, because I had taught in that building initially before I was a principal there. So that was tough. It was a tough change, and it was a big change. So, but it just made me feel more confident, and made me, I never thought about speaking at conferences before. And now I've spoken at 3 or 4 just the Missouri conferences, principals conferences. I never would have thought of doing that before. Never, like, somebody would have asked me to be on a podcast and been like, no, like, I didn't have the confidence and belief in myself to do that. But because I've been through this, I realized that I was capable of so much more. And I didn't want to waste that time anymore. And that's how I look at it. So that was what it's really done for me.
Incredible. incredible. It's very inspiring, and it's I'm so happy for you. I mean, it's really a great story. If you're watching live, jump in, leave us a question, leave us a comment. Certainly give Jove 2 claps here on his journey. And you're continuing, Jove. You're continuing these great things. You are, I believe, you did a half marathon.
Yeah,
you're ready to do your first marathon.
Yeah, so I did a half in the fall. I'm going to do another half in 3 weeks, and then I'm looking to do a fall marathon, which is that's the big one. That's the big mark. I never would have thought of doing that. I ran a lot when I'd lost weight in times before, but it never really stuck. It was a chore. Now I don't see it as a chore. I see it as an opportunity. And so I'm looking forward to a fall. I've got about 5 or 6 marathons picked out. I'm just trying to figure out which one works best in our schedules, my wife's and my schedule. So after I run this half marathon, then I'll decide for sure which one. So I want to run one that's fairly good size. So I got a lot of people cheering out there on the course. I think that will help. So that's one of the factors. So just looking at some of those things, but I'm excited about that. I'm excited. I love it now. I love counting the miles. I love doing that. I'm on a 300. Well, today was run day 374 in a row. When I originally started was just going to run for 30 days just to see if I could do it. And my goal was I'm going to run 1.25 miles a day, because the streak, like, to consider it to be valid for a streak, you have to run a mile a day. So I got through the 30 days, and then I just kept going. Around day 200, I met a guy from Georgia on Instagram that was doing the same thing. We started on the same day, became kind of, yeah, it was wild. We've become kind of a support system for one another, and big encouragement. And we've just kept going. We've kept in touch. So we celebrated 365. We're not together, but we were able to talk to each other on that. Now today was big. I started adding up my miles. I'm over 1,400 miles now in that 374-day stretch of running. But really, the big number is since January, since the new year, I'm almost 700 miles. So it's just crazy. I'm going to earn like they say, you're going to earn your comma. I'm going to earn my legit year comma. I've earned one for the streak, but I want to earn one for 2023. So I'm going to earn my comma this year, hopefully, in the next 3 or 4 months. So
wow. Maybe New York City's calling your name next November.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
You come down there. I got to get to come to see you. That would be
right.
That would be incredible. Yeah.
That'd be an awesome experience.
And Jove, the good things are piling up, right? Success breeds success. Success leaves clues. You have recently been named Principal of the Year in your region.
Right.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
What would you say, Jove? What would you say why they nominated you? What was a couple of the leadership things, a couple of the strategies that you're doing? What was it? And I know you want to be humble and share it. I get it. But you had to be doing some things that got people's attention.
I think a lot of it just boils down to relationships. I think that's right in my wheelhouse. That's what our building needed. They needed a lead principal that was really good with relationships. They had a great data principal before, and data is not my strong suit. So it really kind of became a dream scenario for me, right? Like, I have all these teachers that are really good at data. I'm really good at this. The AP that's in our building. He remained and was just a great force in helping me. I actually nominated him for assistant principal of the year. He won it. I organized this big, school-wide assembly for this guy. And lo and behold, I had been nominated. So after he gets his award, our regional president and vice president asked for the microphone back. And I just thought they were setting it up on the podium. And then my wife, who had just had knee surgery, by the way, had her knee replaced, I see her walking in and with one of our daughters, and I just started crying instantly. I welled up, and I knew what was going on at that point. And so we both won the award. I have a mentee. He actually won the Emerging Principal of the Year award, and I had presented it to him that morning. So it was just a crazy, crazy day. It was the same day I ran my 365th run. My grandson started his first varsity baseball game that night. And then my grandson found out tonight, I told you earlier, he's valedictorian of his class. So it's just been a crazy week. Like, I just can't believe it. But Yeah, I think it comes back to relationships. It comes back to giving people trusting them to do what they do, and having a good enough relationship built up with them that when you do have to have tough conversations, they know where it's coming from, right? And I think that was a huge part of the process. I think that people see the confidence in me, and I'm not afraid to put myself out there and share my story and to share myself. And I think that helps people. I think people know when you've been through something and been through tough times, they know that they can trust in you and they can confide in you. And I think that's an important part of it. It's just that human part. Nothing can replace people, right? You always talk about people over programs. You always talk about relationships. And that's my wheelhouse. That's where I'm at. So I think that's the biggest part of it, you know.
Well, kudos to you, Joe. This is inspiring. It really is, and I'm happy for you.
Thanks.
Joe, so many people, right? They think about doing it or they start doing it, but the stick to itness fades away, right? Today I'm too tired, or today the weather's bad. Like,
Right.
How did you stay the course on this journey?
Well, a few things. Success Hotline helped me. The people you surround yourself with. I eliminated a lot of people. I didn't eliminate, but I just chose to spend my time around different people that supported my vision, supported the things that I was searching for myself. You know, it's that, you know, Jimmy Cassis says your life's board of directors, right? I decided who my life's board of directors were, and then those are the people that I stuck with. Those people that weren't on that board of directors, I can be friendly with them, but that core group of, 10, 12 people are the people that I go to, that I talk to, that I make sure that I'm touching base with regularly, and that made a big difference. Then it just comes down to the mantra, right? It comes down to, how do I want to live my life? Commitment greater than feelings equals results. Do I want to continue to get results? Yes. So if I want to do that, I've got to be committed. And then I believe you can manifest things, right? And they don't happen because you want them to happen. They happen because you practice, because you seek out the experts. Dr. Gilbert would tell you that. And they happen because you have positivity and you change the way you think. I don't think that things happen to me, right? I think things happen for me. And I used to be a things happen to me kind of person. Well, now they happen for me. Like, it's an opportunity. Something bad happens, it's an opportunity. One of my favorite Dr. Gilbert quotes is, there's no such thing as failure, only feedback. When you change your focus in life to that, boy, the whole world opens up for you. So that's those are things that really help me along the way to really lock things in. So,
way to go, Jove. Jove, you know my message is surviving and thriving, right? And I've been asking my guests, if we take out the and, right? What is your one word? What is your one action? What is your one mindset? Surviving blank thriving.
Surviving, commitment, and thriving. Commitment's just like, I've always been skittish about tattoos, right? But I got one, and it's C greater than F equals R.
Got one.
Got it on my wrist, and
come on, let's see it. Show it
every day. So it's on my wrist. Not fancy, but every day I look at it. So when the time comes, right, and I just look at that and I know. So I love, like, surviving and thriving. To me, that's your commitment, and you're all wrapped into one thing. Like, I love that it's kind of your mantra, right? It's your thing, it's your brand. And that's how I view commitment. It's become that much a part of me. And I love surviving and thriving because it speaks to our human nature, right? We're going to survive, but we're going to thrive in the same space. And I think that's awesome. I love that.
Well, it's funny that you show that you got a tattoo. You got a week old here, Joe, but here it is, man.
That's awesome,
man. We got to commit.
That is awesome. I love it. That looks fantastic. That is great. I
love the presses, but I replaced my, extra excellence, all that. This is my family's names, my kids' names.
I love it.
And I wanted that, because I'm committed to that message as well.
That's
and that
awesome.
vibe. And so that's amazing. That I knew we had a lot in common, but putting your mantra, putting your mindset in a tattoo.
Right.
Well, kudos to that. Jove, what's next for you? You have your grandchildren, your children, you're
Yep.
excelling at your job. What's next for you?
Well, I'm starting to, through your help, I sat in on your seminar, and you had a session with me about writing and expanding that, taking my ideas and putting them to paper. You got me in touch with some people that was really helpful. So I've really honed in on writing a book, something I've always wanted to do, and especially now. I just think the message that I have is important to share with everybody. And it's something I've always wanted to do. So, that's one thing. I'm working on a book. So the other thing is, I want to get out and start speaking more. I want to share my message about school culture, and I want to share my message about my journey. I think they go really well hand in hand together, especially for educators today with all that we've been through with the importance of, mental health and trauma, being trauma sensitive and trauma informed. I just think we've got to work harder to take care of ourselves and others. And the way we do that is we take care of ourselves first, and we put ourselves, last way too often. We can't lead people if we're not healthy ourselves. And that took me a long time to figure out. I took a lot of time where I was trying to help everybody else first, and myself just kept sliding further and further. I got bigger and bigger. I had worse habits. I unintentionally wasn't a big drinker before, but I unintentionally quit drinking. So that was just weird how a lot of those things just happened based on the changes I made. It wasn't intentional. It's just happened. So I think, making those changes has been very big for me. I want to share those stories with people. I try to do that through my messages, my morning messages. So then those kinds of things, just expanding on that, is big for me. I want to share my story so much with other people. So,
well, you're doing that tonight, and your information is here below, so that they can find the messages on Instagram. And how about A Committed Life? Is that through Instagram as well? Where do you record that?
Committed Life can be found on Anchor, Spotify. It's on Apple Podcasts now. You can find it. You can find it in those places. I usually post on Saturday or Sunday, and it's not very long. They're some are longer than others. Some are 7 to 10 minutes long. Some, if I'm feeling ultra reflective or super reflective, it might be in some of my earlier episodes to kind of set up my story, or longer than others. So it's just something that helps me reflect, and I feel I can share with other people. And it's been kind of fun to do. I never would have imagined I did something like that, and I would do something like that. And so it's been really fun. And matter of fact, kind of a neat story. I was at a race in Des Moines, actually a half marathon in Des Moines. I was wearing a guy from New York. He has a run club. And so I have the run club jersey from this run club. It's a virtual run club basically. Well, she had recognized my picture from my podcast, and she had just happened upon it basically. And she saw me in the shirt, and she had stopped me to say, "Hey, I know that. Do you know this guy?" And she wait. And she knew it was me. Yeah, my viewership's not that big, so it was a real shocker. But so that was really cool. Like I ran with her for about 1.5 miles, and it was really neat. Like when something like that happens, I'm sure it's happened. Stuff like that's happened to you. It's really cool when people recognize you that way. It's just kind of warmed my heart that somebody out there's listening. Then it makes it all worthwhile, right? Because you can see the numbers and you see the analytics, and people are listening, but and your friends, like in your family. But when a complete stranger is listening, then that's awesome, right? That makes you feel like, okay, this is really something that's helping other people, and it helps keep you going. It's that encouragement you need. So
good stuff. Jove, we're going to get to rapid fire here. These are quick questions, but before we do that, what is something that you wanted to talk about that I did not ask you about?
I think I'm real proud of coming from a small town. I came from a little town of 1,500 people, Pleasantville, Iowa. The movie actually debuted in my hometown. We don't even have a movie theater. They debuted in my high school gymnasium.
Wow.
So Reese Witherspoon was there, and Tobey Maguire was there. I don't think they'd ever seen anything quite like the small rural Iowa town. But I'm just real proud of where I come from and the coaches and teachers I had. And I really want to give a shout out. One of my social studies teachers from high school has been teaching for 50 years. and he is retiring this year.
Wow.
Dennis Oliver is his name. I hope he sees this. Just a great guy. My dad actually ran an opportunity workshop for his father-in-law, and he was just a really influential teacher in my life. And so I want people to know that Dennis Oliver, 50 years in public education, is retiring, and he is a motivating force for me to becoming a teacher. And so that's something I wanted to know, and be proud of where you come from, right? I think when I was a kid, I always I wanted to get out of this small town, and I ended up back in a smaller town. But I'm just really proud now where I came from, and the people that raised me, and the teachers and coaches I had, because I was a little wild guy. So those people had such an impact on my life that I really just would like people to know that there are teachers out there and coaches out there that are making a difference every day, made a difference for me. And if I was a kid that could be a little bit of a troublemaker and become a school principal, there's other people that can too. So.
Pleasantville, Iowa, getting a shout out here on Education Leadership Beyond. That's awesome.
They got a really great they got a really great elementary principal, Tom Roth, who is a couple years ahead of me. He is a fabulous principal. He is awesome. Doesn't get the credit or acknowledgement that he deserves, but he is unbelievable.
Well, let's get Tom on the program, and kudos to your teacher, teaching 50 years. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Awesome. Jove, these are rapid fire questions.
Yeah.
First thing that comes to your mind, are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Last book you read?
Atomic Habits.
Oh, isn't it incredible? You get his email list every Thursday, right? 1, 2, 3,
yes.
or 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Last movie you saw?
Last movie I saw, I actually rewatched Shawshank Redemption. That's one of my favorite movies. That A Few Good Men. If it's on, I'll watch it. Those two movies, for some reason, I'm drawn.
They always seem to be on at like a Saturday at 2:30.
They do. Yeah.
Your name. Tell me about your first name.
My dad named me Jove after Greek Roman mythology. That's where it comes from. He wanted me to have a name that nobody else had. My own grandmother wouldn't call me by my name until I was like 4 or 5 years old because she thought it was ridiculous. So she called me baby until I got so big she decided she couldn't do it anymore. But before she passed away, she said, "You know what? It was the right name for you."
Wow.
Yeah. So they wanted me to have a name. I've never run into another one, so it's been pretty cool.
There you go. Cool. Your favorite dish?
Favorite dish, seafood. I love seafood, especially now that I've become more healthy. Like I love it. Fresh seafood.
Favorite place to travel?
Okay, there's two of them. One of them is going to be kind of odd. Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's a quick getaway for us. It's a hip happening town. I love Tulsa. Lots going on. And then Gulf Shores. I love going to the beach. I love going to Gulf Shores. It's still one of those places where it's not so crowded that you are miserable. So you can relax still. So I like going there.
Have you gone back to the spot where you fell and ran past it?
Yes, I have. Yep. So that was kind of a big moment too, right? It's conquering it. So you don't forget it.
Other than C is greater than F, what's your favorite success hotline quote?
I already mentioned it. No such thing as failure, only feedback.
That's right. What's the shoe you wear while you run?
I'm a gel Nimbus 25 guy, but I also like Hoka Cliftons. So I try to alternate back and forth, keep my feet happy.
And the gel is the Asics.
Yeah, the Asics Gel Nimbus 25. Love that shoe. I love it. I love both those shoes, but I'm a shoe fanatic, so it's a problem.
I'm with you. Hey, you got to take care of those feet.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Is it the food or the exercise? And if your answer is both, give me a percentage of what we need to do here in our 40s and 50s.
I think it's both. I think the exercise is probably 40%, and the food is 60%. Okay. And the older I get, I think those numbers will go up. But most definitely, because you can't outrun a bad diet. So
good. That's a great answer. The best leaders are the best because
they care about people. They put relationships first, and they know the importance of people and the importance of the people in a good organization.
A journal or blog you subscribe to?
I love Joe Sanfilippo's 1 Minute Walk to Work. Love those. I also love his bike check. If you haven't seen those,
Yeah. The mongoose is come on.
Right. And then another guy that's become a mentor to me is Ken Williams. I love the Ruthless Equity podcast. He's been a great help to me, and try to talk to him regularly. He's just a motivator. When you get that syrupy voice going, you can't help but feel good about things. So
he was in Missouri the same year I was there.
Yeah, that's where I met him. So, and we sat down at the table, and I had been following him on Twitter, and we started talking, and ever since then, he's helped mentor me and been really great. Been really great to me. Really appreciative of him.
We've discussed a lot of your passions and successes you have in here. What's a pet peeve of yours? Something that gets under your skin?
People say they don't have enough time.
Oh.
That's probably the thing that gets to me. And people won't say it to me anymore because they know my routine, right? But when people say, "Oh, if I have time to do it," I don't have enough time. There's just not enough hours in the day. Well, there is. You got to prioritize and you got to be committed, right? So that's one thing that's a pet peeve of mine. It just irritates me.
I normally ask at 8 a.m. on Saturday morning, I feel. So I'll move it back a little bit. At 6 a.m. on Saturday morning, I feel, fill in the blank.
I feel strong. It's usually when I'm going for my long run, and I feel strong at 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning, just invigorated and full of life.
Wow. What a great answer. What an inspiring answer. Best purchase under $100 that has had a great impact on your life.
So I bought a guitar for $99.98 about 5 years ago, and started teaching. Well, it wasn't even 5 years ago, like three years ago during the pandemic. And started teaching myself how to play. I haven't played it as much this last year, but that got me through some of those early days with the when I was really starting to change my habits. And so it was a big part of really focusing on something else besides food and bad habits. So,
amen. Best takeaway from this show for our guests?
If you're capable of so much more, right? We're capable of doing far more than we ever thought we can do. And when you understand that and you start to apply that to your life and you live from a place of commitment and live from a place of opportunity, anything's possible.
Bam. Something about Jove Stickel that people don't know about.
I cry at about every movie. If it's emotional, I will cry. If sports movie, a big highlight moment, I'll cry. Sad tale, I'll cry. Story of redemption, I'll cry. Hoosiers shooter, I'll blow up every time. Like I just, that's right. Let her fly. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let her fly. Yeah. So I love that. Field of Dreams. It doesn't even have to be sports movies. It could be any movie, but I am a crier when it comes to movies. I don't know. I get lost in them and I get choked up. So,
amen, brother. I'm with you on that. Jove, your information's here below. What would be the best way? There is a lot of people out there that want to lose weight. You not only did that, you're doing so much more. How could people get in touch with you?
My dog's going crazy there.
Your dog wants people to get in touch with you.
That's right. She does. The best ways, probably through Instagram or Twitter. My Instagram's Stickel J. My Twitter is @Jove Stickel. They can also reach me at principalstickel@gmail.com. Those are the best ways to get a hold of me. I'm constantly checking those, and I post them every day, so I see it, and do a lot of my work through there. So.
And if you're listening, it's Stickel, Stickel.
Yeah, like I tell people, I was told when I was a kid, I'm a stickle, not a pickle. So, not LE.
Jove, you've said a lot of powerful quotes. Obviously, you're a Success Hotline Hall of Famer. Is there a quote, something you want to end us with?
Sure. So, one of my favorite quotes of all time is from it's the last stanza from William Ernest Henley's poem Invictus. And it matters not how straight the gate, not how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the keeper of my soul. And I love that poem forever because Nelson Mandela, it was one of his favorite poems when he was on the island, and just a great poem. But it really has, the older I've gotten, the more it really speaks to me is I make the decisions of what's going to happen for me in my life, right? How I choose those things. I'm the one that chooses my fate, and I'm the one that it keeps my soul healthy. And so it's up to me. And I think that sometimes we can get lost in other things that lose sight of that. So.
Well, I'm glad you could do that at this point in your life with all that you've been through. So kudos, my friend. It was an honor to have you on the program.
Hey, it was an honor to be here. I really appreciate it. I've enjoyed it. I look up to you. You're one of those people that, I look for your blog when it comes out, when we get our update every week, and I enjoy that. And I just really appreciate your energy and I'm forever indebted. I never would know about Success Hotline if it wasn't for you. So you and Dr. Gilbert are two important people for me. Being principal of the year in my region, I don't know that happens without you and Dr. Gilbert. Like the way things fell in line for me, it's been very important, very special, and I'm very appreciative of that. So.
Well, I'm thrilled for you and well deserving on the award. Guys, this is Jove Stickel. Again, follow his stuff there, his Instagram and Twitter's there. Jove, we're going to sign off, my friend. I wish you the best on your journey. We'll get this podcast to Dr. Gilbert. This is show number 245. If I can help you in any way, I'm at Andrew Murata 21 on Twitter. Jove, I appreciate you. Best of health to you.
Hey, take care. Thanks for everything.
I want to see you running those marathons. If you come to New York City, hit me up and we'll have to get together.
You bet. All right. Have a good one.
Stay on the line, Jove. We're going to sign off here on show number 245. Keep rolling, friends. Keep surviving. And